Hello and welcome back to Forge of Champions, and we are here in our third game of this best of 5. One apiece separates both of these teams, so pretty exciting stuff we just saw, really.
I mean, it just still amazes me. It's only been 2 games of this series. The players, this is where the mental really gets tested. This is why I think this is such a great series, these players. Yes, this is going to influence their seeding going in the grand finals, but this is where you really test your mettle. Can you go a full 5-game series? Who's going to falter? Who's going to crack? Who's going to go, right, I don't care if I went 1-9 the last game on Poppy, I'm still going to bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, you now have the counter pick, return to the top lane, you should have the favorable matchup. Also, from Enclave side, return to the Aurelia ban. It almost won you the game in a game that was definitely lost. So,
do you ban the Darius?
I think we should petition.
I don't think you ban the Darius, you just get yourself the counter pick. Like Nard, that's so
you just don't pick Darius. You just don't pick something countered by Darius.
The difficulty was that Enclave had the red side, they were able to get the counter pick, and we talked about this, how the counter matchups for mid and top are going to be so impactful, and we've seen it come out, which is why I think this entire series will be very red side favored. So it'll be whoever gets the red side, it's on the other team to try and break that streak, because both teams won both times on red side so far.
Or Misfits just play it out and hope to win because they get red side more.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, that's fine too, because you'll end up 3-2 at the end. No complaints there.
I mean, realistically, look, Misfits are going to look to break that cycle too. The big one is they want to follow through on this game.
Yeah. Now, I think we need to keep our eyes on Shikari again and Rift. Like, this has been so impactful.
Shikari, Rift, Eren Leader, those are the big matchups that just really have popped off.
And come back to Afflict and Monk is as well, because they are the people who can influence the solo lanes in the early game.
Yep.
This time we saw that Afflict had a bit of a better time. He was showing up, and that was something we said pre-game 2. We said, look, Afflict just picked Sejuani into Gragas again. He must know that this isn't particularly Sejuani favored, but you can still have a presence in the early game with your laner.
I mean, I just want to get and pick some bans here. I just want to see what's going to happen. I just want to get into this game free. It's been so
How many leader champs can you ban?
Exactly. I mean, I think they should send a message to Riot and be like, look, 10 bans, great. We need more. Give us 15 bans. That's the only way we're going to stand a chance.
Well, unfortunately, you only get 5 aside, so 10 total. I mean, there's so much. Leaders champ pool is so big. We haven't seen the Zed this series. He played the Zed yesterday twice, so it's always a threat. It was always something you have to keep in the back of your mind. And you know, we talked about how Eren and Leader both have very similar champion pools as well.
I mean, that's one advantage, is that when you're on blue side, Misfits felt the need to ban away the Akali, ban away the Yasuo. Issue is, they're still feeling this urge to ban away the Zed. They're scared of it. They're not willing to handle that. This is a problem. Leader, it feels like a force that's out of control, and when he's on this red side, you're not going to be able to rely on that Rift counter pick.
But more importantly, banning things like the Zed allows you to get the mid lane pick pre-ban phase 2.
Yep.
You don't have to worry so much about that being countered with their 3rd pick from Misfits.
Well, Zed, Akali, and Talia have all been taken off the board. This side, Misfits are on that red side.
This is a really weird one, because they ban away the Akali, but Misfits felt the need to ban the Akali themselves when they were on red side.
Maybe Eren's not particularly comfortable on it. Maybe not into a player like Leader.
Yeah.
He also plays very aggressive picks, so maybe he's scared, but actually Leader has something paired.
And now it's Misfits who have to ban Yasuo, most likely.
Yep.
Actually, I might be wrong, but this might have been how the first game went, where they did ban away the Yasuo. I think the Talia might have been moved over. I might be getting this wrong, but
there's
again,
the Gragas pick as expected.
Yeah, I mean, this is Enclave doing the same thing again. They ban away a lot of the Leaders champs. They go for that Gragas pick. Wouldn't surprise me if you saw Misfits go for, I mean, the Rise.
The Rise,
very very similar to how things went in the draft 1. The question is, can the teams play, well, I mean, it's on Enclave to try and play it better.
Well, let's see what they're going to be looking to lock in. I mean, last time Leader got his hands on the Rise, he just hard farmed for 10 minutes and then hard carried the game. Like, he was gifted a super minion wave, which he had no problem dealing with. So it was just extra gold to him. And he was even able to split push and take a turret in the lane he was pushing into super minions on.
My question comes back to, Eren knows that. Enclave know that. What are they going to draft in response to the Rise? Last time they went with the Orianna in this rotation following it.
Yeah.
They have something potentially either more aggressive that can punish them in the early game, because I'd actually like to see that more from Enclave. Their early games have still been decent.
Last second pick, but they do end up, I mean,
it's the exact same one still.
They get the Rise for Sejuani.
They were probably considering other things.
Tom Kench is open, by the way.
But yeah.
I mean, I think that's one thing is that we haven't seen is more global impact coming from supports. If you pick something like the Shen or the Tom Kench, or potentially something that can roam very effectively, you might be able to at least help out Eren into Leader.
I will say, I think that these guys are respecting that now, at the very least, that those Tam Kench nerfs hurt his laning phase quite a lot. And previously, especially, we saw that when Bendy and Hado were punished by Wind and Rain by getting this heavy priority bot. I think they're maybe a bit wary of giving that away.
Well, Orianna will be locked in once again, so it's a mirror of the first few picks we saw of Enclave versus
Is this going to be a
Misfits
Varus pick?
Yeah,
Yep,
I mean,
game
this
one.
is slightly different because Enclave have the Ashe, whereas in game 1, I believe they took the Varus.
Yes, they did.
But it looks like Misfits aren't even going to trade AD carries here. Potentially, just a hover. But it would be an interesting decision. It secures very strong team fighting with the Sejuani Braum. Looks like an investment. They're not too bothered about the Varus. They realized they also had the Jhin, which was very strong in the last game. They're happy to give it up.
I put a lot of priority on this Braum as well. Prosper's played it all 3 games so far, and he's been looking pretty decent on it. You know, shaky early though. This is my concern. Enclave have been able to punish Misfits early game every game so far.
Which is almost why I'd like to see something like the Morgana that can push in, use that priority. However, I think Braum just allows them a bit more late game insurance.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind a little more aggression from them, though. I think with the Rise, they've decided that they want to still have that, though, especially because their 1-3-1 was so strong last time. They're guaranteeing themselves the top lane counter pick. It's still a good win condition.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have banned away that Tom Kench. Question is, will they ban away the Morgana as well? On the other side, I've got to anticipate a Varus ban comes out here. I'd be very surprised. They're actually going to take Alistar. He's going to have to move on to something else. There's a various amount of options open, but the 2 champions we've seen play in this round and the last round, not available for him.
I would like Morgana here, especially into the likes of Sejuani, because so much just guaranteed initial lockdown.
Yeah.
That if you can avoid that, get your Ashe behind people, you could end a fight quite well.
Well, Na's going to get taken away, so
They're actually going to leave the Varus open, so more worried about the counter pick on red side and essentially giving Crispy a choice of AD carries.
see what he's going to lock in. There's quite a lot of options. Jin's still available. The Varus, like you said, didn't get banned away, so that's still available. Curious to see actually what they go for here.
Are they going to blind pick Darius with Camille and Nar taken away?
Absolutely not. They're going to pick the Varus.
No,
no.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Mate, it's been a...
It's a long series.
It's been a long series.
I'll give you that.
Aporo tried to replace my job. Like,
Yeah, though, the Varus pick was a given. I'm now wondering, does Rift want to blind pick the Darius? They banned away his initial counters. And if I'm Shikari, am I prepared with something like the Kennen?
Well, we've been bigging it up, and it finally gets locked in.
Yeah, the Morgana
first
come
time
out
today as well, and
yeah,
yesterday.
we haven't seen as much priority in it. I think maybe the Black Shield, the mana nerfs on it might have hit harder than people expected, or just not seeing enough priority, but this will do well into the amount of CC on Misfits. Question is, what will Rift play? Can you make that Darius work on the other side? Bear in mind, he's going to have to deal with a Rise potentially in the side lane, or something else from Shikari.
Poppy's still available as well if he wants to play safe. But it's
Ooh,
actually the
that's a
Kennen
bit
I was
different.
talking about
Okay.
that I was expecting into Darius.
Maybe he
gets
missed
picked up
it. Maybe
instead.
he was like, oh, he's going to pick Kennen. Do we have another ban? Let's ban it. No, but just take the Kennen. So obviously, this offers a lot in terms of the split push.
But also, it comes down to the Camille Nar are also some of the few things that can balance a Kennen. You could cut the distance as Camille and try fight him, and as Nar you can match his range.
This has been banned away from Shikari every game so far. If he does go for the GP, how does this kind of matchup work? Obviously, Kennen can pop the barrels just with range.
Yeah, I think in terms of split push, the Kennen is going to come out. If it goes AD Kennen, which I'm assuming it will, it's going to come out ahead in the split push later in the game. The thing is, Gangplank just becomes so strong.
I'm not 100% sure it will be AD Cannon. I think you can go for an AP. You have Orianna, Ashe, Gragas, Morgana. That's a heavy team fight.
True.
You lock people down for so long that they just instantly die to something like Cannon.
Yeah, you can make the argument. If they find backline access from the side of Enclave, they really could punish Misfits. And I think the one difficulty with Misfits is they haven't got that great engage. I mean, other than Varus stepping forwards with an ultimate, Sejuani and Braum tends to be follow-up. And the thing is, you're dealing with Morgana. It's going to be hard to find that. And I think you have a fair point, you know, is the fact that AD Kennen would beat Gangplank in the late game split push, but AP Kennen can hold him. You don't necessarily need to look for it. The only issue I'm finding is that 1-3-1 threat with that Rise coming out from Misfits.
I think you can even go AD Kennen and still play it the same way, because the biggest issue we had against the 1-3-1 was they started forcing engages and then failed one and it was lost. If they don't fail it, and with Ashe, Morgana, Orianna, everyone having engage on their team, it's hard to see how they fail it. I think Enclave
Yeah.
can just go for a similar game 1 and just continue that momentum.
If Ashe fires an ult and the follow-up is there, it's going to be very hard to avoid it. And I think the thing as well that's important with Morgana is, unlike Alistar, with Alistar you have to commit.
Yeah.
If you go in with a combo, you are in melee range. With Ashe and Morgana, you can just throw skill shots out, and then even if they burn a QSS, it's like, right, we've burned that. We can just throw another in a bit of time. You don't have to hard commit into that.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Enclave can do with this. I think this is a very strong engage comp. It's what I wanted to see into this strong split push that Misfits have been bringing out. I think it's the way to respond.
I think it also plays very well into the fact that they want to play around mid-game, because mid-game's been where it's been going wrong for Enclave. Been playing very well early, and if they start to snowball the early once again, and this time they have just this big, everyone press your R's at the same time and just go for the team fight, that's when we actually might just see a more snowbally mid-game for the side of Enclave, and Misfits won't have the time or the power to react this time.
I mean, I think the key thing we talked about is that red side has the advantage in terms of counter pick. But Enclave have changed things up. We thought in the early sections of the draft it's going a similar way, but I really like the fact that they've tried to adapt and have gone, look, there's going to be some issues. Leader's going to get a champion he's good on, because it seems like he's good on a lot of champions. You can't ban them all away. Let's try something different. We're going to put Rift on something that can actually join in with the team fights instead of just trying to answer Shikari in the side lane.
And I think it's smart to push Leader onto his rise of all the champions he's comfortable with, because it needs time to scale.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with the likes of Aurelia, you have a strong potential early laning phase, and then you scale up as well. That becomes much more of an issue, I feel, than the Rise did, because the Rise, as we talked about previously, spent, you know, about 5 to 10 minutes just hard farming and then became the issue.
Yeah.
If you don't give him that, which they almost didn't in game 1, that could have been the game right there.
And I think the thing, I mean, again, it's just the tools for Enclave are way better than in game 1. If they do get the lead as they have in game 1, as they have in game 2, they really can punish much harder if they manage to follow up. Question is, will they be able to execute, or will it turn into game 2 where despite having a 20-kill Darius, they still manage to make things look tricky?
For me, from Misfits, what I'm looking at is you have lost every early game. Fix that.
Yeah.
Any way possible. You
This
need
is
to
something
look
they
at...
really need to look at.
And I'm looking at, when you're talking about early pressure, I'm looking at the jungle matchup specifically, but also while they've allowed the Gragas to go away, which will have more early pressure naturally, then look at the way the lanes play around that. Look at the vision they put down. Can they cut off the Gragas before he finds his way into lanes? And part of this comes down to the strength of Predator Gragas. Once that Predator is thrown down, they have very little response time. It's like when Rammus was in meta. As soon as you see him, that's sometimes not enough time to respond.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a big thing is the fact that this has been a massive issue for Misfits. Even before they brought Leader in, when they had Kenzuki, they struggled in the early game. That was one of their massive problems. And when they played Diabolus earlier in the 4G Champions, they just got slaughtered in the early laning phase. And it clearly shows this is still an issue. Yes, they're not getting slaughtered in the lanes, but they are falling behind massively early, and that's their weakness.
And that depends even how historic you want to go. You go back to their 9-1 Premiership wins. Their biggest issue was their early game.
Yeah, I mean,
they won most of those games from turned around mid games from early games they'd lost.
and it sort of begs the question is, could this come down to Afflict? Because I think clearly the junglers are having a massive impact. Monkiss is trying to do as much as he can in the early game, and it feels like Afflict just isn't quite up to tempo on that and isn't finding the windows.
But he's also allowing the Gragas to go away. Like he's foregoing his priority to allow Leader his picks and to allow his team to get ahead. And again, Sejuani matching Gragas is a pretty commonly picked thing because, you know, you can't somewhat match it. I think Afflict is struggling, though, at the moment.
Yeah, I would agree.
We talked about it at the beginning of the broadcast as well, you know, the rotations, the tracking of Afflict and Monkiss. We also hit on recently about how Afflict is a jungler who has a vast champion pool. He's got a very wide champion pool. Typically, we see Monkiss mainly play the tanks.
Yeah.
He has obviously started to kind of expand those over the last few qualifying tournaments, but Afflict, we know he's capable of playing things like the Rengar. I don't expect to see the Rengar, but it's in his champ pool. He has a wide pool. So, you know, well, we will be at least going to a game 4. We're guaranteed at least that much. And if Misfits kind of don't find the Sejuani working out for them anymore, maybe they look for something more aggressive and look just say, okay, we're going to have to give up the Gragas, but let's go something like the Nidalee.
I mean, at least something like the Nidalee or the Graves is something that when you get SCS lead in the jungle from farming, it actually means something.
Yeah.
Because when there's these leads come out for Afflict, it means very little in the grand scheme of things up against that Gragas.
Big question mark for me, and why I say that it is actually Afflict allowing his team to get priority is that you then have no engage unless you lock something in specifically for engage. And that's where I think you have to focus more on the lane priority they've been trying to get. When you're getting such heavy lane priority, though, you need to be able to help that out with vision, even if you can't respond as well as the Gragas can in terms of like actually being in the lanes. If you just put the vision down, try to control that early, and then wait till about your level 6 mark where you can match him.
Well, we are loading through into our third game of this best of 5. 1 apiece for both Misfits and Enclave. Enclave punishing Misfits every early game, but it does feel like Misfits have at least had some answer in these mid and late games. We'll have to see whether or not this time it's shored up by Misfits or if Enclave can continue to push it. The winner of this game will go on to match point.
Yeah, and that is where the pressure really comes on. You can see once again the TP available for Leader. It's going to be a huge factor in the fact that you can get the lane pressure and phase rush coming out from the Kennen. I think that means AP Kennen.
That's AP most likely.
Pretty sure that's AP Kennen.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot of saturation.
Oh, and
Leona attack.
yeah, I think Kennen might have just electrocuted the camera right there. Some brightness. Sorry for your eyes, anyone got caught off guard by that.
Sitting in a dark room watching this. It's like, oh, my eyes.
Poor guy. Or Gil watching the stream.
Well, let's have a little look at the lanes so far. It just looks like junglers are going to be starting up on the same side of the map, so it's going to be mirrored jungle pathing, so maybe we see some shenanigans come out. I don't expect to see anyone really go bot lane though. Maybe the Gragas has the potential, but you also expect the Varus and the Braum to get pushed, so it's going to be hard to actually make a play happen bot lane.
I mean, that's the one key difference this game is that a Morgana has now been picked. You now have a range advantage over the Braum, whereas in every other game it was an Alistar, so the bot lane was fairly passive.
What I will say, though, is as the game scales forward, this does offer them a little less safety. If Hado finds himself being caught out on the Morgana, it's a much bigger issue than if he's caught out in the Alistar.
Yeah, and I think particularly when it gets to that point where the Rise has the Realm Warp available, he can really make use of that. You can make a 4-man play bot and punish.
We do see Rift actually getting poked out by Shikari, constantly procking that grasp over and over again. Rift now looking for the return end trade, but another
oh god, that's
pistol
so
shot to the
annoying.
head.
This
Shikari
was the counter pick.
Yeah, I mean, this is his counter
He has
pick.
got the new skin, the Pool Party Gangplank.
I love that skin.
Looking pretty cool with his little spatula.
One of the chromas has a pineapple instead of watermelons as well, which is really cool.
Oh, and
Hado actually does need to be careful. Hasn't leveled Black Shield yet, so was forced to flash away as concussive blows could have stacked up onto him. And Shikari pushing this wave in.
Yep, if he plays too far forward, he gets punished very quickly. Squishier champion. And that's, you could see that I think Misfits decided that, yes, we're giving away probable lane priority with the Alistar ban, but it's worth it.
I mean, I can vouch for this personally because I played up against Crossfair, and he doesn't mind when the person takes Morgana against him. I've done it before, and he doesn't mind because he knows it's a squishy champion you can get punished, and you can out-roam it effectively. So although this looks like a matchup that people might not enjoy as much, he's confident playing into Morgana because he knows he can make a bigger impact beyond just providing a Black Shield.
And you can see, I mean, with the response to the Doran's shield as well from Chrisberg, necessary in such a poke-heavy matchup, and now it's Hado trying to use that priority.
Yeah, they've got the binding in. In comes a flick, though. He's trying to turn it around, but first blood gets picked up by Hado. Now Chrisberg is here, and he's trying to pump that damage out. A heal has already been used, and over the wall comes Leader. That's going to be 1 kill to Misfits. They chased it up for 2. Make it 3. Leader gets a double kill.
I don't think that could have gone worse for Enclave.
They could have not got first blood.
True.
They could have gotten it onto anyone but Morgana. So, I mean, it's a bit of back and forth here.
I like your optimism there.
This is it, though. We said Misfits have lost every single early game so far. This is a good start.
Well, let's have a little look at that shenanigans, at that action, breaking down the blue buff once again.
I gotta go.
So they end up committing here, and one of the big problems is that Monkeys is level 2. Hado comes in, but no flash. So these members are actually very weak for Enclave. They commit everything onto the Braum. Although they managed to find the kill,
oh, they've airy.
Absolutely everything. Chrisberg, now here on this Varus. Lethal Tempo procced, able to put down a lot of damage. The level 2 Gragas, easy pickings. The Pierce Narrow cuts him down. Bendy just gets caught out, and then Hado, no flash available, and it's an easy cleanup. So much sustained damage in CC, and this is the skirmish power of this Misfits team. The Sejuani, the Braum, those great stun passives at any point of the game.
I did see Shikari actually lose a trade versus Rift in that top side.
Gotta feel bad for Rift. You're just like, oh, okay, we're going in an early game against Misfits, and it's like, oh, suddenly the enemy team's got 3 kills.
Aaron, Forced to flash. 5 stacks, by the way, on Leader's Dark Seal.
That is a lot of stacks. I mean, we saw what happened with Leader in the last game on Rise. He actually lost the early game. He got ganked.
He was 0-2. Now
Yeah.
he's 2-0.
And yeah, I don't think it's going to go the other way. I don't think Aaron's going to farm up a Storm and then start split pushing.
not a Cleanse Oriana.
Yeah, you can hope, but I don't think it's quite going to go that way. Misfits finally getting us some traction in the early game. The question is, what can they do from here?
Now, one of the things that Celtic Tiger did say was that at least First Blood was gifted over to Enclave. Yes, but that First Blood went to Haddo
Yeah.
on the Morgana. So, while Chrisberg, he gets a kill, you get 2 kills onto Leader. So, I would trade First Blood onto a support for 2 of your carries, getting some kills.
Absolutely, but without a doubt at all. Things are just going to slow down a little bit. The question is, what are they going to do? This Rise is now level 6. He has that Realm Warp. What I would like to see is Misfits start to get control of that river area. You can see on the bot side, pink ward there for Enclave. Leader's just gone over and he's going to clear it out. Good start. This is what you want. You get control of the bot side river. You then want to pressure the bot lane. If you come in and punish this flashless bot lane from Enclave with the Realm Warp, with that Sejuani as well, that's where you can actually snowball the game into an early game win for Misfits.
The S lead is in favor of Bendy in that bot lane. Mid lane, pretty even as well.
See, it being pretty even top. It is definitely AP. Kennen, Celtic Tiger was right. Looks like aggression coming out onto Shikari, though.
Slicing Maelstrom's there. Monkeys pops the Predator, gets the pop, and he gets a kill.
That just looked too easy. The Kennen's so good setup, and the thing is, I'm not sure if Shikari had already used his oranges, but the problem is the Kennen can stun more than once with his passive. Easy pickup on that gangplank.
You do at least get diminishing returns on the stun.
That is one factor.
So at least you get that. You kind of almost have a little bit of gifted tenacity as Haddo needs to be a little bit careful. Going to Black Shield himself so the concussive blows don't stun him up. But now Bendy's ignited. He's a potential target. The flash forward by Prosper, and he is gifted the kill.
And just great target assignment from Prosper and Chrisberg. They burn the Black Shield from Haddo, who oversteps. There's now no Black Shield available for Bendy. And the thing is, just a flashless Ash. Chrisberg knows as soon as that happens, he can flash in. He actually has ult now. Haddo might have to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah, Black Shield is available to him, so at least has that. But Chains of Corruption go down. It's a little bit too late. Chrisberg 2-0 on this Varus.
The shutdown just get locked up under the tower. Again, though, these kills are going over to Haddo. Most fed member of the team is your support Morgana. Not great.
Didn't Haddo go like 6-0 on Alistair yesterday?
That wasn't Haddo, that was Quickseth.
Oh, that was Quickseth.
But we have seen a lot of supportal combat with him getting a ton of gold. Might be the case again here.
Let's have a little look at that play once again.
So honestly, Haddo just overstepping here, a bit overconfident in the power of the Black Shield. And the thing is, as soon as it's burned, they switch onto Bendy. You can only Black Shield one target. Chrisberg willing to flash in almost instantly.
That was seamless by Misfits.
Yeah, and the thing is now,
they knew Haddo had to Black Shield himself, so they knew that play was going to happen.
Yeah.
They had that just planned ahead of time.
Haddo feels confident with Black Shield, but he doesn't have the reaction time. Maybe a bit too much ping, maybe just some slow reactions, but ends up getting killed. Fortunately, this last tower kill actually kills Chrisberg. You look, the heal had such a short amount of time left. That might have been able to save him. Shutdown does go over to Haddo, but again, it's not the sort of situation you want if you're on the Enclave side.
At least he turned around and got a minion as he died.
Yeah, I mean,
he got himself 20 extra gold.
It's like when people are playing...
Just fishing for the moment.
It's like the sort of situation when you're playing Cogmore and you get killed, and then you just want to like walk over and blow up the wave.
That's a Predator by Monkeys, actually. Looking just to zone afflict off that control ward. Vision control is so important.
Absolutely.
And Enclave have been playing very well around the vision control. I might have said that slightly sarcastically. I didn't actually mean it as sarcastic as it came out. Vision control is super important.
And it's actually very low here. He has his team to back him up, but has to be careful.
A 2-kill Morgana queued him. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, but she has picked up those CDR boots, so able to use the Black Shield more often. Something that would have saved her in the last play, but might have been able to help out with a bit more AP.
Bot lane just getting a little bit of a shove going through in favor of Misfits. No turret has gone down yet. We haven't seen any priority on getting this first turret blood, and so we're approaching that 10-minute mark. Gold is dead even between Enclave and Misfits, but the key thing to note is a lot of that gold is sitting on Haddo, the support. Oh, also getting changed out back and forth here. Not actually going to find their mark. Prosper stays alive.
Monkey is trying to come in.
And Aaron.
I mean, this is the problem, is I feel like Hado is playing this lane incorrectly. He decided to walk away to clear vision.
Flash. That's going to be the Soul
in.
Shackles. Chrisberg gets knocked up, but they're trying to pump the damage out. In comes the belly bop. In comes Monkeys. And it will be Hado with his 3rd kill on the Morgana. Chasing on for Prosper, but he has got the backup of his mid laner.
Leader's going to move down, but no Realm Orb available. I feel like Prosper is definitely dead, but how much time can he buy? Hado should be able to trigger him, at least with the pool. There it is. Aaron's going to try and secure this kill, though.
He might be able to get out here. Dodges out the binding. Great sidestep. Maybe just going to look for the execute here.
No, there's no way. Hado's too soon.
Hado's going to go 5 and 2. Actually, Prosper, supportal combat. Not this time. Aaron finds the kill.
Oh, so a good play. I was just talking. I was criticizing Hado, and as soon as I do, he does a good play. I felt he was going a bit too aggressive by going to clear that ward out and leaving his AD carry alone, but then he knows the flash is unavailable from Chrisbig, uses his own, and is able to punish. They get 2 kills on the back of that, unfortunately. One of them over to the Morgana. But they do manage to shut down the bot lane, and they actually manage to get a slight gold at this point. In return, though, Misfits going to pressure this Rift Herald.
I mean, 100 gold, a couple of potions.
It's a lead. It's a lead.
Well, this actually might be a lead. Monkeys goes in. I didn't see who secured that. Monkeys with the steal, I believe. Yes, he managed to take it away, and that's a kill over to Enclave. Stun onto Shikari, and Rift just poking a little bit more. Monkeys!
And this is why he is the king of steals. He will consistently find them.
Let's have a look at that steal. Oh, I literally highlighted this at the beginning of the broadcast. Monkeys
Predator Gragas coming in. Sort gets the combo, gets a smite, and then Afflict is just shut down. Great team play. They knew Misfits were going for this play, and they managed to get them in time. This is the power of that Predator Gragas. Without Predator, he wouldn't have been there in time. This is why it's picked up. And this is why it's effective.
Oh, Leader gets explosive casted back, and now Aaron very low on mana. This could be dangerous. Leader could turn around. No damage will come down as the W was not available to Aaron. Just was completely and Leader's staying around, getting himself a shield from his passive, but does need to be a little bit careful. He's very low still.
Yeah, has to err on the side of safety, but Afflict is nearby, and he knows Aaron has no mana. The only thing to worry about is if Aaron levels up, that Lost Chapter is going to give him a big sweeping lump of mana.
Okay. Looks like actually first turret blood could go over to Misfits here. They've got Afflict hanging around. Chains of Corruption go out, and that's going to be an ulti to follow. Oh, ultis are being fired out. I'm tripping over my words. Bendy will get pinned up and locked down. It's going to get answered out. Hado is 4 and 2, but another kill is going over to Chrisberg. In comes Monkeys. In comes Shikari. Shikari's pumping the damage, and Chrisberg is still alive. Tower after tower shot comes down. And they are turning this around. There's another teleport coming in. In comes Leader. Prosper. It's a double kill onto Rift. He flashes over the wall. The overload, the damage. Can they find Rift? Rift is there. The realm keeper, the realm, the Q is not enough. Leader underneath the tower with the shutdown. And 3-0 is going to be this rise.
And Monkeys isn't able to do anything. Shikari able to walk away. Leader able to walk away. I mean, that looked like a bit of a fiesta, but they managed to find the kills. We see a quick replay there. So Hado actually sees the pink ward come in, he sees Afflict over the other side, and yet still gets caught off guard. Actually manages to tank a lot of the CC with his back shield. That's a good stopwatch. This actually causes Afflict to die. CC'd under the tower, and then he buys as much time as he can. The binding connects on the Varus, and this allows time for for Rift to get in. Unfortunately, doesn't have his ultimate. Otherwise, this probably would have been an easy triple kill for him. Picks up Chrisberg, and then with the CC of Monkeys, they're able to get Prosper as well. But this is a big thing. Leader teleporting in the fight late. Doesn't quite have enough damage for Rift, even the last auto attack. But then this Realm Warp, it looked a bit comical. And this is when the ult from Rift comes back up, but isn't even enough to stun him. Oh, so many tight windows in that.
Well, first turret blood actually is going to be gifted over to Enclave after that massive back and forth using that Rift Herald, but Monkeys was crucially able to steal away from the side of Misfits. And now gold is still even as we're at 15 minutes. Misfits with the cross-map objective play are going to be able to answer back with a turret of their own, but it looks like we actually are just going to have tier 2 turrets trading across the board. And Shikari actually will be able to catch this wave and make sure that it will be a positive trade for Misfits if they hang around.
And that's the thing, is that Enclave had to use that Rift Herald just to trade evenly, and yet Misfits are staying, and they might even get another tower here. Gangplank has much better wave clear than the Kennen, and this Kennen might be dead.
He's going to go golden for the moment. They're going to charge up a piercing arrow, and a slicing maelstrom will not be enough. Prosper gets arrowed up, but didn't have turret help, and this is actually the flank. Aaron looking for that shockwave, couple of auto attacks, and he flashes in, gets himself one onto Afflict. It's a 1-for-1.
I feel feel like the shockwave could have been used there by Eren. Decided to hold it and ended up being his flash, but in the end, does pick up that kill trade. Got to give the credit over to Misfits, though. They definitely forced a lot more than Enclave there. And this has been such a bloodthirsty game. We said the last one was very... Well, I mean, last game was very bloodthirsty. I can't say that. Last game had a 22-1 Darius. This has been a bloodthirsty series. Yeah. 19 kills at 15 minutes. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
I mean, I'd say bloodthirsty series is a little bit generous if you think about game one.
Game one
that was very slow and very back and forth. Game 2 was just Rift getting insanely fed. And this game, I mean, continuing that trend, but without just one person, it's going to be a Morgana getting fed. Shockwave actually lands onto leader. He flashes in. He's going to look to go down. Soul Shackles will lock him up. And in comes Menkes with a belly bop. 600 gold in the fat man's pocket. He can buy himself some expensive wine.
And then leader just overstepping. Doesn't have the cleanse. Didn't take it this game. Has TP. Doesn't have the flash. Gets punished heavily. And they might be able to get a mid tower out of this as well. Good moves. And once again, Hado, using his flash aggressively, rewards his team.
Great play there from Enclave to find himself an opening onto leader, who is the star player for this Misfits lineup.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been such a prevalent issue, and we thought 2-0 leader, this might be the game over for Enclave, and yet they've managed to bounce back, they've managed to find windows, and they've just now managed to shut down this rise.
Let's have a look at what the return play by Misfits is going to be. I am so happy we've got a game going on for 15 minutes and we're still dead even with this amount of action.
I mean, so many of these games have just been dead even throughout. Despite the fact that last game had a 22 kill Darius, the gold was pretty close for a large amount of it. It's only towards the end that it started to go in one direction.
Oh, that's a good arrow. That's the target you need. Locking up Prosper and Chrisberg. A slicing maelstrom locks them both down for as long as Enclave needs to find 2 kills in the mid lane.
And this is why Enclave picked that Ashe. The engage is so easy. And the question you got to ask is, we saw a QSS picked up so early in the earlier games, and yet Chrisberg decides to invest in more damage, and it definitely backfired there. Oh, that's so annoying.
Shikari's just trying to have a barbecue. Come on, mate.
Dude, don't rain on his barbecue. That's not cool.
Don't rain on his barbecue. I like that. We're just leaving it there. We're just going to leave that hanging.
You said something nice. I'm stunned.
Yeah. Oh. You're very nice to me. I'm always nice to you.
True.
I'm
off stream, maybe.
Off stream. On stream, I can be a little mean, but you know.
It's all in good fun.
I'm tough because I love you.
It's like all these players here, they all love each other. They definitely don't want to crush each other and ruin each other's dreams.
I don't know. I think Rift enjoyed crushing Shikari in that last game.
I mean, in honesty, Rift and Shikari have a pretty... You should have seen Rift when he was talking in Twitch chat yesterday in the series. I mean, I'm getting interrupted here.
You are. Eren's actually completely so he's going to force that cleanse out. Watch a flick. A flick played that so well. He waited for the cleanse cooldown to actually wear off to continue the chase with the ulti. This actually might just be a flick going down. No, binding and a black shield. Shikari does not have ultimate, and Menkes takes a bit of poke from the bot lane from Misfits, but nobody falls on the side of Enclave.
Pretty good from Eren just to be able to get out, and big peel coming out from Hado. Yeah, as my point, I was saying Rift in the Twitch chat yesterday when Shikari was playing that series against XL, and he was saying how good he was doing, giving him positive feedback, saying Shikari, God Kari, but he is willing to take it to him in this game. There's Kennen picking them into the gangplank, doing pretty well so far, and you see that massive team fight. It wasn't even a team fight. That was a murder they got in the mid lane. There's 2 kills onto Chrisberg and Prosper.
I mean, that's literally the headbutt hierarchy comp that Enclave have built, and there's nothing wrong with this. We saw them do this versus Wind and Rain, where they played a very easy to execute comp, and it works out perfectly for them. Once again, Enclave picked themselves a fairly easy comp to run, and they're just playing its strengths really well. Flick needs to be pretty careful. He's not all that tanky at the moment.
I think the question for me is, at what point is Chrisberg going to invest in a QSS? You can see Prosper's already got a null magic mantle. He's definitely getting a QSS early. I think that's with good reason. If he can block the arrows, then that's fair enough. But the thing is, that is the only real threat from Enclave. If they manage to land that CC, there's great follow-up. Misfits need to find time to scale and get into that 1-3-1. Once again, leader on this rise has managed to find a CS lead, 30 CS up. Not quite as much as it was last game, but definitely a chance he manages to run away once again.
Triforce finished up on Shikari into 2 items on Rift. 3 and 4. 3, 2, and 4, sorry. I mean, is his scoreline.
Look at the differences. That obviously you build a Triforce regardless on Shikari, but he's built the Hex Drinker. He's trying to survive against the AP damage, whereas look at Rift. Proto Belt, Zhonya's, that is team fight build.
He's even got lucidity boots.
Yeah, he wants the CD reduction on his flash and on his ultimate. He wants his ultimate available as often as possible, and he wants to provide such a massive force in these team fights. And why not? Because he's been doing so well so far.
I wonder if Shikari rushes the Stormrazor second now, or if he goes into the Sterix. That's what we did see yesterday from our GP. I can't remember if it was Shikari playing the GP off the top of my head.
I think it might. Yeah, I think it
was, and he went Sterix.
I think it might be a good idea because you want to survive against the amount of AoE burst in their team.
So it's a good idea for that reason. I'm going to now tell you why it's a good idea to go for the Stormrazor. Monkeys is the only tank on the side of Enclave.
Yeah.
If you get a good barrel chain off and you've got a Stormrazor and that's the prop, you will win the team fight just off one barrel chain.
Very true, and that could be what they're looking for. But right now, Rift might have found a leader.
Yeah, he has locked him up with the slicing maelstrom, but Leader just has a lot of damage to boot. Even going to throw out everything on top. The cannon barrage gives Leader his assistance, and he's going to be able to turn it on a Monk as he belly bops over. A Realm Warp is thrown down, a Blast Cone goes out, and now he is running away.
And I think that is the issue, is Rift has built for team fights. He has built mobility and utility in his items, not damage. He didn't manage to do very much to Leader at all. The Seraph and the passive shield just completely tanked out his damage.
Oh, chains are there.
Might get punished too.
They actually throw a lot out. As will be the ultimate.
What
great explosive cast though. Pins are flicked in. Leader's trying to pump the damage down. Hado goes gold to make sure he stays alive, but Leader is forced to flash out as he aggressively steps underneath the turret one more time.
Such a back and forth, and I criticize Monkeys heavily for his casts earlier in the series, and now he has been great. That was a massive one. Manages to turn around the fight and take out a flick. But still, Leader is going to be a problem. They went for the attempted play from Rift. I think that is a mistake. You need to try and punish this 4-man from Misfits and ignore Leader on the side wave.
Chrisberg has now got himself that Null Magic Mantle, so he's backing, looking for that QSS. This is going to be a big point for Chrisberg. He has that survivability against the initial all-in. He'll even get the extra tenacity after he uses the QSS.
Yep. Well, you don't get extra tenacity.
No, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of cleanse. That's because that's in the game already. I made that point and realized how stupid I was.
Look at the side of Misfits. Look at the boots on all of them. Make treads, berserkers, make treads. They understand the threat from Enclave is that CC in that team fight, and they're itemizing against it. I mean, that's one of the great things about a Gangplank, because he does have that free cleanse on him. And why not? That is what you're dealing with on the other side. The Ash Arrow, the Morgana, is going to be way less impactful when people start picking up QSSs.
Well, it looks like they're just going to focus out this tier 2. There's even a teleport getting used here. It looks like Shikari's looking to come in. Monkeys gets a good belly bop onto 2, but he's going to get chunned up.
Not quite available.
Great block onto the binding, but Bendy throws out an arrow, finds Prospect. The slicing maelstroms on the other side. It's a double kill onto the Ash. A Realm Warp will deliver a couple more in. It's a back and forth fight, and Misfits trade evenly versus Enclave, but they are not done. They are looking for a continued chase as Afflict will get forced away. Leader maybe chasing forward. Here comes Shikari. Down goes Hado.
And at the end of that, it's a 3-for-2 for Misfits. It's not a massive win, but it's enough. They're now going to head over to Baron. I'm not sure if they can do this, but they're going to at least try and bait it. The question is, can Eren and Bendy challenge?
I think they're just going to try and clear out the vision for now.
Oh no, they're startup.
I lie.
This is a spicy one. No, it looks like they'll back away. They burn the blue trinket. Yep. I think they all...
120 gold is so much more worth it.
Yeah, they realized that might have been a bit of a mistake, but again, they managed to get the team fight win. I think one of the issues where this Monkeys went for a really solid engage, but his explosive cast wasn't quite available, and as a result, wasn't able to find the knock to get Chrisberg into their team.
Shikari actually finished up the Maw as his second item, so he completely invested in that and decided he's going to build his next item. I'm very excited to see this replay because I do want to see how much they invested onto trying to kill Chrisberg, and look at how long he lasted. He did not get hit by a single thing. Prospect played perfectly here.
Yeah, but it was a great flank from Monkeys with Predator, but his explosive cast isn't available, so he doesn't have the follow-up, and Chrisberg is just able to DPS him down. On the other side of the fight, you see Rift buying time with his ultimate, but eventually he will die. Great moves from Eren and Bendy to shut down the bot lane of Misfits, but again, Rift gets punished, and then I mean, that's all we're going to see for the replay. But yeah, Rift gets punished. Kennen isn't able to do nothing. They do get the stun, but the QSS is available for the Borm, and that is the issue. Now that these QSS is available, you can't just rely on throwing an Ash Hour out and getting the engage. You have to look for something like the flank from Monkeys.
Gets harder and harder to find your targets when you're playing into these QSSs. You can't go for Shikari because they will just orange it. You've got now Prospect, he's going to be looking to block up for most targets, and he'll have a QSS. Chrisberg has his QSS finished up. And it looks like the Infinity Edge is going to be the next item for Chris Berg. That's actually a Chains of Corruption into the Cannon Barrage, just looking to clear out the wave, but
I mean, look at the side
just to pump through this, yeah.
Gangplank and Leader are willing to push aside. They're giving up the mid inhibitor. This has happened in the last game as well. They're willing to give up an inhibitor in one lane to try and get the push in others. The question is, how effectively can Misfits stop
Misfits
these
have to stop these recalls now. This is literally the most important thing for them to do.
Aaron has ult.
Zoning multiple people away. Flick's not even going to ulti. Risk's going to be able to get back in time. That will be a turret falling, though, for Shikari. Won't get the inhibitor, though. That's the crucial thing.
But the thing is, a mid lane inhibitor doesn't have that much value because it's not going to mean you can push and then control the other side of the map. And
I'm having flashbacks to game 1 now, where Leader's just going to farm super minions.
Actually starting at the Baron. Monkey isn't there. He does have... His Predator isn't actually available, so... Oh, I think he just used it. So he's going to try and get over there as fast as possible.
Yeah, they've been spotted out. They can't risk it with Monkeys around. He's just played too many decent smite fights, but that Baron was perfect because now Leader's able to push in this bot lane.
Yeah, Rift had no TP, so he had to move.
If this inhibitor falls, this is the best inhibitor for Misfits to get if they want to start contesting out Baron. And it looks like the inhibitor will go down. Leader even has ulti if he wants to be able to make a quick escape.
I mean, we've seen it all before. The split push Rise, he gets so farmed, so far ahead, no one can answer him. And an AP Kennen is even worse, I would argue, than a Gnar for dealing with the split push.
Well, Supers will be pushing in on that bot lane now, so someone always has to be there to deal with it. And if we do look at the TPs, Rift doesn't have his yet. So if we now see Misfits go for it, they're either going to force them away from that side of the map and the minions are going to push in and start to work on the base, or they're going to be forced into a 4v5.
Yeah, neither of those situations are going to be great for Enclave. You do see now as well on top of that, Shikari has picked up that Storm Razors. I was informed by my beautiful assistant Celtic Tiger. I did forget you can't build a Hex Shrinker and a Sterax, so unlikely you'll see that one come out at all from Shikari unless he forgets as well. But now going to have a lot of damage on those barrel combos. If he finds one of those onto some squishy targets, that can definitely win a team fight.
Rise, Ceres finished up, fully stacked up as well with that death cap, with that Morellonomicon finished up.
That's a lot of damage.
Leader is in that flex tape area where he's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, a whole heaping load of damage. If he gets a big combo, he can just punish him. And the thing is, you see, Aaron had to go bot lane to answer these super minions. They're going to look for Leader now.
Oh!
What a flash.
What a rune prison.
I mean, that's just huge. You burn away the ult from Rift. All you lose yourself is your flash. Yes, it's quite important as a Rise, but in return for what? And you can see Shikari actually pressuring the top lane. And now Misfits, they shove in mid. They're going to head over to that Baron. Will Enclave be able to contest him? The TP's actually coming in. They're committing for this.
Yeah, Shikari's dealing with 2 members. He's even going to go 1v2 and maybe kill Haddo here. Haddo's forced to go Golden and Rift, trying to pump that damage out. Remember, he does not have Slicing Maelstrom. Shikari ducking and diving, and Aaron is able to shut him down. Bendy throws down the ultimate onto Chris, but it's not enough. Marcus once again steals a Baron. What a hero for Enclave.
Getting away with this. He steals it again. It seems impossible. He flashes in at the last second and steals it with his smite. This should not be able to happen, and yet Enclave, they clutch chances.
This is why I bigged him up at the beginning of the broadcast. He stole so many Baron Nashes away at EU Masters. We're going to see once again the 1v2 by Shikari. He survived so long and put so much damage out, but the crucial thing is what's going down in the Baron pit.
So you see the ult doesn't actually connect from Afflict, and Prosphere has his ult but doesn't use it, and they let Monkeys get in range of the Baron. And yes, they managed to kill him on the back end, but you can see him, he's sitting happy, he knows what he did.
He's given his presence to his team. Santa's done his job.
Oh, what a play. I mean, it could be so bad for Enclave if they weren't able to get that Baron, but they've given themselves life back in this game. A composition you could 1-3-1 as well as Misfits. If they got the Baron, that would be game ending. But new life for Enclave. The question is, what can they do with this Baron buff?
Well, it looks like they're trying to deal with the wave for the super minions, pushing that lane up.
Smart decision. Pushing the wave.
You have to look at the other side of the map. Shikari is starting to catch a wave in the top side. Does have teleport, but that's going to be one of the crucial points we do need to track. Chris Berg, now with that Infinity Edge, his damage is very spiked. Going to be able to pump so much out for his team, and Enclave take down the tier 2 in the bot lane and continue their siege.
Yeah, and It looks like they're not going to answer this with the 1-3-1. Rise is going to head over. Predator's been popped. Monkeys is playing aggressively.
Cannon Barrage just to look to clear the mate wave out. There's even going to be a Redemption. Good
damage
ulti
from the
though
back
by
here.
Prospect. They're actually pumping it out. Shockwave lands onto 2. In comes Rift for the slicing Maelstrom.
down.
He finds Leader. And Monkeys is low. Chrisberg can't connect the damage he needs for his
behind.
team. And Shikari is here on the flank. Gets himself a barrel. Gets himself one. And Prospect flashes forward. It's a double kill onto Chrisberg. He's going to go for a triple kill onto Rift as Rift is able to lightning rush away, and Shikari hot on the chase looking for Enclave members. He has his Q available, he has his barrels available, and he gets stunned in place. A piercing arrow by Chrisberg finds him the kill. Rift should be able to get out of this one, although he has to run all the way home.
He has the lightning rush, he will be able to get out, but it looks like they're just going to push through the bot lane, and they don't have minions, so I don't think they're going to be able to end. But it's a team fight win for Misfits, and against a Baroned up Enclave. Such a back and forth throughout, and we'll get to see that now. So
the main thing was the flank, right?
Yeah.
The flank was so
Monkeys
big.
goes very aggressive here, walking up with the presence of the Black Shield, feeling confident, but he takes tower aggro. The ult doesn't quite knock Chrisberg back far enough, and then he takes so much damage under the turret, and you can see the Gangplank ult actually lowering the team's HP massively, but then Leader caught in the Shockwave Maelstrom combo just gets popped, but Shikari is just TP'd in the backline. 1 barrel, 2 barrel, gets the 3-pop combo. So much damage. What a play from him. And you know, we said Rift styled on him in game 2. He's styling back in game 3. It's a long chase back in return until Chrisberg managed to land that piercing arrow.
Splat goes the errand. Bye, Robot Lady.
Absolutely. And a lot of shutdowns, a lot of goal back and forth, a lot of hectic team fighting. Something to note is we're actually seeing the workings. Well, Spectre's Cal come out from Leader. He understands the threat there was that AP burst. Might even be going for an adaptive helm because there's so much AoE AP damage coming out from Enclave.
Chrisberg almost on his last item as well now on this Varus. 8 and 5. Got himself his Mercurial Scimitar. He's got himself his Blade, the Rune King, the Infinity Edge, the Runan's Hurricane, and the Last Whisper in his pocket. It's getting to a point where Chrisberg is going to be one of these major late game carries, along with Leader. The late game for Misfits this time is here, and they've got a superior late game team.
Yeah, I mean, Enclave's only route to win the late game is to find a massive wombo combo. If they don't, then Misfits just have the stronger individual carries. Shikari, such a presence on this Gangplank, as you saw there. Leader can pop.
Oh, there's a teleport flank coming through. It's Rift. That's going to be the ultimate going down. The arrow pins him in place. A great glacial prison. Oh, that will be Prospect falling down. The side waves are getting pushed in by Misfits, though. They don't mind sacrificing Prospect for a win. Afflict just trying to buy time, just trying to slow the bases down. Oh, he manages to cancel out.
They might
Rift
go
base.
again.
This could be Misfits ending the game. They've got so much damage they can put on these turrets. This could be the overextension, though. And Misfits take 1 turret, take 2 inhibitors, and step away. Whee!
Oh my, what moves from Leader!
That was the damn Realm Warp.
Gets the escape. Looks like Haddo's going to try and find them, but I'm not sure.
Haddo, careful!
And they get out. What great moves from Shikari. We talked, well, Prospect talked yesterday about the communication that came in. There was some hella good communication there. They get both side lane inhibitors, they get it Nexus Tower, and they get out again.
Shikari's finished up with GA as well, so he's feeling so confident to play aggressively at this point. And Enclave, a great engage in the mid lane. You can't fault them on that, but they just didn't have the control of the side lanes to actually make that play happen.
I think you can't fault them. I think they went for it because they were desperate because of the split pressure. Kennen came in and got instantly glacial prisoned by Afflict. I mean, it looked like the workings of a good engage. You have the Kennen TP in, he's going to rush as fast as he can, but when he takes a stun to the face, not going to be able to find the team fight he wants, and now they're dealing with 2 waves of super minions, and with 1 minute on Baron, things are looking sticky for the Enclave roster.
Still got this tier 2 up in the mid lane, so this at least slows down Misfits' initial siege a little bit more. But they've just got to deal with the fact that Shikari is in the top side, and you've got Leader leading in the minions in that bot side, and it's just this constant siege on all fronts, and the jaws are closing shut on Enclave, and match point very close to coming through for the boys on Misfits.
I mean, that's the issue, is that you're trapped in your base now by this pressure from Misfits. Baron is up in 30 seconds. If Misfits get that, it's game for Enclave. There's no way they can hold off this 1-3-1 with a Baron buff as well. And, I mean, Monkeys has done a pretty good job of stealing them, but it would be a miracle if you managed to pull off another.
He did it twice in the same game, by the way, at EU Masters.
I mean, that's what he
this
needs
is
to
a
do
guy
here.
who's very, very good at it. He has a level advantage as well, so he will technically outsmite Afflict for the moment.
I mean, I think Monkeys just has a built-in 2-level advantage when it comes to his smite, because it seems like when he goes to his 50-50s, it's more like 80-20. But the situation is now that Misfits aren't forced to rush a Baron. They have the side pressure from these super minions. They can just wait for the waves to push in. Because you see, Enclave know that they're trying to find a pick right now, but soon they're going to have to deal with those side waves.
Triple Cloud Drakes over to Misfits. You might think Mountain Drake's great, but this is so good for the team that are going to just constantly be looking to push the waves in. A Rift, forced to use the Slicing Maelstrom, going to actually go golden with the Zhonya's, and Eren taking a 1v1. A Realm Warp will deliver leader forward, and Eren needs to run away. He is just going to get pinned up and popped by leader.
They don't even need the Baron. They win the 1v1 so hard. You can see both Jakari and leader willing to look for these 1v1s, and they end up winning them out. Misfits pushing down mid, but I think they're going to take the pressure they have here, and they could actually just go for the Baron.
I mean, that's a full build Varus. This Baron will melt to Misfits, and they're able to move around the map so quick because they've got that triple Mountain Drake. Air Drake, whatever one it is.
Cloud Drake, yeah.
One that makes you run fast.
And that's the thing, is that because they made it so Cloud Drake works in combat, behind Infernal Drake, it actually offers so much. But speaking of combat, Misfits leader is in trouble.
Oh, I don't know who's in trouble here. He's going to get pinned up and killed out. Bendy shuts him down. Meanwhile, a turret falls in the mid lane. Inhibitor to go down. And every structure outside the Nexus is falling. But in comes Monkeys. In goes the Glacial Fissure and Prison. Monkeys and the rest of the team looking to turn it around. Shikari gets the first one of the fight. And Bendy is melting to Chrisberg's damage. He is working through him so quickly. And he's got to run away. He's got to make his way out, and Enclave only lose one.
But Eren is back up. They have the Orianna. He might be able to be the saving grace for the team. Leader isn't available, but neither is the jungler for Enclave. If Misfits want to go for the Baron,
They're pinging out. They're making their way down there.
this is their chance. You can't steal Baron when he's dead.
There is a shockwave. I was like, he probably can. It's Monkeys, but no, doesn't look like there's going to be
there
any
he is in the
contest.
bottom left. Will he get it?
He's going to do it. Here comes Monkeys, by the way. No contest, by the way, coming out from Enclave as we do take this back a little bit more seriously. Misfits.
Oh, they're
They're
waiting for leader to respawn.
Oh,
Smart
that
moves.
man, that's so well played.
They
by
know
them.
there's no threat of Monkeys stealing. They wait for him to fall. Every single member manages to get the Baron buff.
PD on Shikari.
I mean, it's good in those 1v1 duels. It gives you extra crit chance. It gives the Storm Razor's air proc the full amount of damage, 200%. But also, if you get in range of Rift, there's no way he's going to duel you through the PD damage reduction.
Yeah, he's going to be a complete nuisance now. Full build on the GP. Still has that GA as well available to him. And at this point, I don't even think we've got a team fight to end this game. Enclave, they've got to deal with 3 waves of super minions as they will be closing in on these last 2
It's
inhibitors.
only one for now. The 2 inhibitors on the side of respawn. This is the one time you can look for a team fight, and you have to find it quickly, or the pressure from Misfits 1-3-1 will just destroy you. The problem is you have no flash on your Kennen, no flash on your Gragas, and no flash on your carries. You're going to struggle to find a team fight successfully here, but if you do, this could be where Enclave turn the game around.
It really is do or die for the side of Enclave, and Misfits recognizing where they're strong, knowing how to play this now, playing with respect, waiting for the waves to start to crash in on the side lanes before they step forward in the mid lane.
The issue is QSS available on the Braum, Mixed Scimitar on Chrisberg. These are the targets you want to try and pick, but you can't. Oh, the ult actually doesn't connect, but Bendy doesn't want to hold about and uses the QSS.
Yeah, they fish with the chain. That's going to be an Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Eren actually stepping forward. Afflict throws down the Glacial Prison into the Glacial Fissure once again. The Glacial combo is there, and Misfits sign themselves 1 off kill. They might be looking for a couple more on Enclave, as that is Prospect flashing forward. Bendy is just deleted. They answer back 2 for 1, but the inhibitor in the top side falls. The inhibitor in the bot side falls, and now it's all all gone wrong for the side of Enclave. Baron, Nasher minions, and only one turret stands. Monkeys with a flash, body slam will knock him alive. The slicing maelstrom by Rift could be big. Reader falls to the turret. Rift, that was the play you needed. Shikari has to make the hero play. He gets binding up underneath the turret. Hado is going to find himself a kill, or at least pop a GA on the gangplank.
But he can't fight the gangplank 1v1. The minions are pushing down the base, and Hado has to watch as the Nexus explodes.
It was hard fought, but Misfits take down Enclave and push it to match point. Oh, woo! What a game.
All right, then. That was something. That was... I mean, it was better. It was better, for sure. It was super hypey. It's super entertaining. But a lot of this comes down to, you had a good early game. Where's that going? You know, that started losing again. They did basically the reverse Enclave, where they basically threw their good early game back over to Enclave's control.
It's like tennis. Like, oh, it's your game.
Yeah,
no, it's your game.
Exactly.
No, it's your game.
Then Enclave got it back. It was, or then Misfits even got the game back in control effectively.
I think
there was a lot going on.
One of the major points here is they are both making mistakes, and they're seeming worse than they are in a way, because both of these teams are very good at punishing these mistakes. So as soon as you leave an opening, yes, you shouldn't make that mistake, and to maybe like a slightly lower team in the standings, it might not have been punished quite as hard, but in this game, and in all of the games we've seen so far, whenever Enclave make a mistake, Misfits read it, and they know when there's a mistake, and the same can be said vice versa. Now, before you guys get to say I'm horribly wrong there, I'm going to bring up the damage chart so you guys can see who did the most damage in that game. It was, in fact, going to be Bendy on the Ashe.
I mean, he did so much in the team fight. He tried to pump so much out. But the problem, I feel, was this Orianna wasn't able to find any traction in the team fights and was just sat in a side lane against the leader. That is not where you want an Orianna.
Yeah, and I mean, you see Shikari on the other side had so many good barrel combos as well, especially later on. I really liked watching that as well. Gangplank was super fun, even in lane, just constant grass procs.
I think you see why it's been banned away quite a lot from this guy, from Shikari. He's just, 2 times he's had Gangplank, he's looked pretty good on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, now you have to ask the real question this series. Is Red Side broken? Is it too powerful? Can it be stopped?
Well, you know what? You have your answer in game 4. Because Enclave will be switching over to Red Side for game 4. So you never know. If Enclave win this game, then yeah, Red Side's fine.
Well, it's one of those situations like in tennis, which we used as an analogy before, often the player who serves has this massive advantage, and so the whole aim is you try and break the other person's serve. You expect to win yours, you hope to break the other person. Now it's in Misfits' corner, you're going to try and break essentially Enclave's serve when they're on Red Side. This is when it's favored towards them. If you can take this game off them, you win the series. If you don't, it goes back over to you, and it's then Enclave's burden to try and break the harder Red Side.
What I'm looking at now as well is I really liked how Enclave responded to that. They put down the cannon, they went the AP cannon as I predicted because they wanted to be this big engage. And you saw that in some of those fights. It was really impressive. Once they managed to get one piece of CC, even under the bot tower where they lost, they just destroyed leader.
Yeah.
If they could follow up a team fight with a full layer of CC, honestly, for example, if that Morgana had been an Alistair and Hado had looked a bit more comfortable, I think that could have been something.
Yeah.
That worked out for them. I think pushing him off the Alistair was a smart move from Misfits.
I mean, that's the difference, is that you can find great flanks on Alistair. You can come in from the back. You saw Monkeys do that several times, but when he was solo, it often wasn't enough. I feel like they just didn't have enough windows to find the team fight. And they were given tons of tools. It was just great item selection with all the QSSs. And then, again, the Orianna just wasn't an answer for this Rise. And you have to ask, is there anything else they could have played in that situation?
I think they were kind of having flashbacks from game 1 where the Orianna smashed the Rise early in lane, but this time it was completely different turnaround because Leader got a double kill at that blue buff play. And at this point, Orianna's kind of like, I don't know what to do because he's actually fed already.
I mean, it all comes back to what the win conditions of Enclave were, which was this big team fight engage. And I still think Orianna is a good choice for that. The issue was they weren't consistently finding that gauge enough, and certainly when they were finding these single target engages, they weren't respecting that if they go for one single target, another one could shred you.
I mean, 2 on-hit ADCs as well. You know, a lot of attack speed, lots of crit as well. Just as we move later to the game, Bendy did a lot of damage. Chrisberg just did more. I mean, but he also had a really good front line. Crossfair multiple team fights was just in front of him and was just this brick wall that no one could cut down. And when they did finally break through, Chrisberg was standing on the other side just ready to answer out.
And that's the problem, is that Chrisberg was given the freedom so you could just constantly put down damage. It wasn't really available there. I mean, yes, Bendy put a load of damage across the whole of the game, but we saw in those fights towards the end, Chrisberg could just step forward, and Bendy was in such an unfavorable position because he had 3 massive carries who were all a threat to him.
This is the kind of finals you really want.
This
qualifying tournament for, it's the final set of finals before the grand final. A lot of finals coming in. But it's starting to show that this Misfits has come back up. They're definitely contesting for a top spot. And while Enclave has locked in a play-in position, they're still fighting for a group stage.
I bet they are very glad about that play-in position right now.
I'm glad you bring that up, actually, because Enclave obviously have locked in a EU Masters spot. They locked in first seed at Forge Champions, and Misfits are locked in at 3rd. Even though there's actually really nothing to gain but pride on this, both of these teams are trying very hard. And it goes back to what you said at the beginning of the broadcast. They're testing their limits. They're seeing how they fare in these best of 5s. They're seeing where their weaknesses are, so when they move forward into the round of 8 next week, starting for the working towards the grand finals here in Barcelona, they know what's wrong and they know what they need to fix. I think Misfits will come out from this series no matter win or lose. They'll know where their weaknesses lie. And the same can be said for Enclave. Both of these teams have figured out early for Misfits, mid and late for Enclave. Both of these teams
and also Baron
need to work on it.
Yeah, Baron an early game, and I think honestly the late game for Enclave isn't terrible. It's just their mid game needs